Never before have so many on-the-spot fines been issued in Britain. We're going to be following the men and women who hand out over £30 million worth of tickets every month.
Oops.
Round here, they are an absolute blight.
So I'm up to 104 now.
Wow.
That is disgusting.
Just walk away.
For behaviour that's downright dangerous,
That was stupid for these sort of conditions, wasn't it?
simply selfish,
Look at the mess you've created in this street.
How was that our fault?
or just,
What is he doing?
well, plain silly.
What a donut.
We'll be revealing the cost of their bad behaviour
£100 fine.
Pays £260. Ouch.
and how this could affect you.
I'll give him a punch.
You want to see me, Kiko?
The police are on it,
What the? Sir!
the parking wardens are on it,
They should be thanking us for being here.
and I'm on it.
Careful, it's a 30-mile-an-hour limit here.
I'm Dom Littlewood, and I'm on the spot. Today, it's detective time as we track down one of the men behind this monstrous mound.
I hit him with my ace in the pack.
There are photographs of your truck outside your house.
You can run,
Hiya.
but you can't hide
Fag.
from the litter patrol.
If you don't cooperate, I will call the police.
And I go out on the beat
There's serious injuries, so you might not want to look.
to find out why fines are so crucial to road safety.
His bike's there, and about 10 metres away is his boot, which sort of makes me feel a bit queasy.
Every year, the police hand out over 1 million speeding and road traffic fines, and with good reason.
We all know speed kills, but it's not just high speed. If a pedestrian is hit at 40 miles an hour, he's 4 times more likely to die than if he's hit at 30. That's an eye-opener for you. Have you ever had a speeding ticket?
No, touch wood.
And what do you think about a speeding ticket? Would you be offended by it? Would you be annoyed?
Yeah, because you should be speeding.
If I hadn't seen the camera, I'd be annoyed.
I drive, and we all do it at times. We are all guilty. But excessive speeding, especially around schools, in towns, it's not good. People get hurt.
If you're doing 32 in a 30, maybe a quick reminder would be better than slap in the face.
Okay, so a bit of discretion, that's what they need,
Yeah, discretion, yeah.
One of the people on the lookout for dodgy drivers going over the limit is Wiltshire Police's Rich Hatch, and he's heard his fair share of excuses.
Tell me some of the real crackers you've heard. And I bet you've had some real champions, haven't you?
I've had some good ones, yeah. I've had speeders at 115 mile an hour on the motorway, and the excuse was that passenger needed a number 2. They've been past 3 service stations. You just like
Obviously fussy about which number 2 station they want
exactly,
it to go to, yeah?
So you take everything with a pinch of salt, really. I've had my butler does my insurance. I don't do it. It's not up to me to sort out my insurance. It's my butler's job. I've had
That
that
sounds
one.
a bit arrogant to me.
Yeah,
that
that's a good one.
Yeah, I hope you gave him a ticket.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, good.
And seized it.
Yeah, good for you, right?
God, I've had. You get all the. Everyone's late. Everyone's always late. There's no one ever on,
That's a given, isn't it?
on time for anything.
Yeah.
They're just always late.
Is there one you think that you'd like to hear for the first time, just for a bit of originality, just for a change? Oh, press the button there.
Oh God, you put the 909s on.
Oh no, I think I've touched something I shouldn't.
Oh, he's pulled over as well.
That's all right. I'll speak to him. It's no problem.
Oh no!
It's all right. Don't worry.
I've only got to put all the blue flashing lights on the bloke pulled over. Oh,
Never mind.
I don't know, I hope I don't get a penalty for that.
Button got pressed by my passenger. No, you don't need to stop. I do apologise.
Uh-oh, I hope our first on-the-spot fine isn't going to be for me for inappropriate use of police equipment.
God, he's probably terrified now. God, Lord. And what's he going to say to him? Oh, there's some bumbling BBC presenter on there. He's pressed the blues lights by accident. What did he call me?
Nothing. She was fine.
Oh, okay. God, I tell you what, she pulled over quick.
Yeah, she was. Quite fair play.
Don't worry, madam, no on-the-spot fine for you, and I'll keep my hands to myself from now on. We are heading to a speeding black spot in a 30-mile-per-hour zone. Speed gun at the ready. Anyone Rich catches going over the limit is risking a £100 fine.
Didn't even indicate when he was turning left. What a donut.
There we go. 47.
We've been here 3 minutes, maybe 2. 47 and a 30.
That's more than 50% over the speed limit. Could this be his first fine of the day?
Before we go any further at this point, right, obviously I'm going to deal with you for the offence of excess speed.
Rich informs the driver that his speed gun has captured the car driving at 47 miles an hour in a 30 mile an hour zone. I'm wondering what the rush was.
How long have you had the car?
About 2 weeks.
Okay, so you're still finding it quite a pleasure to drive.
Well, it's, yeah, you don't realise how quick you're going.
The bad news is for you, we'd literally been standing there maybe 2 or 3 minutes maximum.
Yeah.
We've just got out of the car and he just said to me, you know, watch this road, it can be really, really bad.
The driver says they're off on a break. Not the best start then.
Is this the first day of your holiday?
No, we're flying up. We're just on our way up to Heathrow.
Oh, okay. The guy's going on holiday, literally, he's driving to the airport now, and he needs his driving licence for when he gets to America. And rather than having to confiscate his licence, which he's entitled to do, he said, OK, I'm going to allow you to keep it, and when you come back off your holiday in a couple of weeks' time, you need to bring it in, and then obviously the licence will be altered. So he's used his discretion here. Had he taken it off him, I'd imagine when you get to America and you're there to pick your hire car up, they'll probably say, And you imagine how much your problem's going to be multiplied then in America. No hire car.
So let's take a look at Rich's options. The driver was doing 47 in a 30 mile an hour zone. That's close to the level of a court summons. Or will it be a fixed penalty notice? Or perhaps just a caution? Over to you, Rich.
I'm going to deal with you for the offence of excess speed. All right, that will be dealt with by way of a fixed penalty notice at the roadside here and now.
No surprise there. That's the first £100 on-the-spot fine of the day.
I'll let you get on your way back to Terminal 5 or wherever it was, and I would say enjoy your holiday, but I might have put a bit of a dampener on it for the day, but that's all. All right, take care. Bye-bye.
I've got a funny feeling there may be a few more fines to come.
Careful, it's a 30 mile an hour limit here.
But there's a serious reason why we're here.
42.
A recent fatality on the road has had a major impact on the community, as local resident Amy Louise has stopped to tell me.
Yeah.
The cars that come up and down this road are going at approximately 40 to 50 miles an hour around the bend.
Yes.
And I've moved from one estate of Marlborough to this estate. I now don't allow my children to play out. It has completely changed our lives.
Do you think the speeding here is out of control?
Absolutely.
Back to the road, and within seconds the speed gun picks off more offenders.
Nearly everybody's actually speeding. I can see on the back of your gun, but obviously some not as bad as others.
That's from a standing start.
That's 43. Okay.
Could this be on-the-spot fine number 2?
I'll tell you what, that's probably 3 minutes again. You haven't got time to boil an egg doing this job, have you?
No, not at all. Evening, sir. Before I go any further, I will tell you what is the offence of excess speed on London Road in Marlborough. 30 mile an hour speed limit up there. From a standing start at the bottom of the hill, you managed to get to 43, and I checked you again, gave you a bit of the benefit of the doubt. 168 metres away, you're doing 42 still. Right. So you're just accelerating up the hill. It's not acceptable. It's too fast for the road. All right. Do you have your driving licence with you at all?
Well, that's 13 miles per hour over the speed limit. But the driver says he has an excuse.
So there was an accident further down the road. He's been stuck behind the hold up in the traffic for quite a while, and it was a release of the sort of tension coming up the hill, and he realises he was speeding. That was his excuse. But as Rich said earlier, he said every excuse in the world, and none of them really justify it. And I can sort of see what he's saying, especially if someone was killed here, not that long ago, through speeding.
But has the excuse worked? He's been caught doing 43 miles an hour. That's still 13 miles an hour over the limit on this road.
I will be dealing with you today by way of a fixed penalty notice. Right, that is a speeding ticket, so it will be a further 3 points, but it is dealt with by way of a fixed penalty.
No excuses. That's 3 points on his licence and another £100 fine. Now, if I said fly tipping, what image would that conjure up for you? Perhaps a bin bag dumped on a street corner, maybe a few more in the undergrowth. Perhaps it's the contents of a house clearance in a back alley, or the contents of a skip on an industrial estate. So what about a massive 100-metre long pile of soil? It beggars belief, doesn't it? In fact, it's fly tipping on a virtually industrial scale. And that's exactly what has happened here in Buckinghamshire.
So fly tipping is just a case of people trying to make as much money as they possibly can for as little expense as they can, and ripping people off basically and letting other people down.
But never fear, Environmental Waste Officer Chris Smith is on the case.
This is the A355. It's a road that travels between, well in this particular case it travels between Beaconsfield and goes north up to Amersham. And we're going to visit a lay-by that has been completely overrun by fly tipping to such an extent that it looks like the lay-by is going to have to be closed down. There's so much waste in there now that it would just cost so much to remove it. They're thinking of leaving it there.
A trip out to site reveals just how bad this crime is. This is one of the worst cases of fly tipping Chris's department has ever dealt with. But the punishment is equally massive. Serious cases of fly tipping can incur up to a £50,000 fine and a possible jail sentence of up to 12 months.
Okay, so this is the lay-by on the A355 between Beaconsfield and Amersham. If you look down the length of the lay-by from here, you can kind of see the difference in the waste. About halfway down, it changes from being very large piles of this excavation and waste to smaller piles of similar waste, but different size.
Chris has got technology on his side. In his efforts to make someone pay for this crime, he's taken a leaf out of the Nature Cameraman book and hidden some cameras in the undergrowth. But he's not on the lookout for badgers or foxes. Oh no. Chris's secret visitors are more likely to do harm to the local wildlife. Back at his office, a review of the footage caught on Chris's surveillance cameras reveals the shocking truth. Over 24 hours, the camera has picked up 5 separate offenders, one of whom has made multiple dumps. Can anyone feel a fine coming on?
You can see how far he's gone back to unload that lot. So if you note the time, so they disappear at 12:32. The same vehicle comes back here. It's 13:17. It comes back, and as you can see, it can't get back so far now because of waste he's dumped previously. So he's disappeared again at 13:20 on that day. And then if we flick through the footage, 14:41, they reappear, and the lay-by is getting fuller and fuller as they go along. They're nearly running the camera over as they come in that time. We have identified the owner of the vehicle. We've had a visit, and I'm just doing a bit of background work before I write to him and invite him in to give us an explanation about what he was up to. We identified a total of 5 offending vehicles, if you like.
Using DVLA records, Chris has been able to identify one of the truck owners that made several trips to the lay-by. Chris has asked him to come in for an interview under caution. If he can make this evidence stick, the owner of this vehicle could be in line for a hefty fine of up to £50,000.
The second suspect of the 5 we've identified from the lay-by job came in earlier this week. We interviewed him. Again, that was under caution at High Wycombe Police Station with a colleague of mine. And he initially denied any involvement.
Let me ask you, are you responsible for the dumping of some topsoil in that lay-by on the 7th of April?
No.
Do you know anything about the deposit of waste in that lay-by?
No.
He claimed that he'd sold the vehicle that was pictured in the lay-by. He claimed he'd sold the vehicle in January. He said it was a purpose-made tree surgeon's vehicle, and he said he was on a job one day in January when he was approached by 4 guys who wanted to buy the vehicle off him.
Got approached by some fellas and then sold it to them.
There and then?
Not there and then.
Okay, so what happened?
Later on that day, when I was finished at work, I sold it to them.
So they came back to your place, or?
They came to the job.
They came back to the job?
Yeah. It's near my home, so I got the logbook dropped off.
That day?
Yeah, and then sold it to them. So I was quite desperate for the money, to be honest. I didn't want to risk not being able to sell it, and they were quite, persistent.
We continued with the interview. It was funny because his body language was textbook. He was very fidgety. His mouth was very dry. We could almost sense, and I know it's easy for me to say with hindsight, but you could sense that something wasn't right. He was lying in some way or other. And we continued to explore that story that he'd given us, making sure that there was no loopholes left. And then I hit him with my ace in the pack, if you like.
Are you going to stick to that story?
Yeah.
If I said I had evidence to the contrary?
I'd like to see it.
Okay. I'm going to show you 2 photographs. They've been given the reference CAS4. They are photographs of your truck outside your house.
I visited his home address early one morning and took a photograph of the vehicle outside his house. When I produced that photograph, in fact that's the photograph there, when I produced that photograph to him, there was a big sigh, almost of relief from him, because he wasn't a good liar, and his head literally rolled forward and banged on the desk when he realised that he was captured, sort of thing.
What have you got to say about those?
Yeah, I can see what you're saying there.
Yeah?
I can still tell you now that it wasn't me that done the fly tipping.
But no dispute, it was your truck?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got some thinking to do, haven't you? Who was it?
I can't say who it was.
Really?
Yeah, honestly can't. There's danger to my life. That's all I can say.
Why'd you say that?
Because I can't say who it was.
When we said to him, right, what's this chap's name, what's his address, he just insisted that he wasn't in a position to tell us, and he couldn't tell us. He admitted that he knew his name, he knew his address, but he just said he's the sort of person that you don't mess with, and he's going to have to take it on the chin. They were his words.
I'm just going to have to take it on the chin, boys, and I'm going to have to accept that whatever you're going to do to me. Sorry.
OK, let's have a look at the facts that Chris has assembled. Multiple trips to the lay-by caught on video, and proof that the guy still owns the truck in question. But the owner won't confess to being the driver responsible for the dump. OK, Chris, will this stick?
When you've got such good evidence, photographic evidence of people fly tipping, you've got a vehicle with a registration number, you've got to do it justice. You can't stop pursuing them. I will submit a file to our legal. Unless anything happens unexpectedly between now and then, I imagine, will be summoned to court. There is a section within the legislation that we use that imposes some liability on the owner of a vehicle used in fly tipping, and I think it's that section that we will be using, taking advantage of on this occasion.
This case has yet to go to court, but if found guilty, this guy could be hit with a fine of up to £50,000 and a possible jail sentence. Over in northeast London, I'm in Havering.
A nice little friendly wave and he moved.
I've come out with parking officer Cam. It's her job to make sure people park where they should or face an on-the-spot fine.
That sticker says why you do your job.
Yeah.
Please leave space for my wheelchair.
That's a perfect example.
Disabled parking bays are meant for use by disabled drivers, and if you don't have a blue badge, you're heading for a fine. And it already looks like some of the locals are trying it on.
One, it's a disabled spot. Secondly, she's waiting for it. So unless you want to be getting a ticket, I'll be moving on. Can you believe that? 2 guys in a sports car, roof down, obviously fit and abled, were about to take a disabled badge spot. Ooh, it makes your blood boil. And I'm not the only one.
When you can't walk somewhere without pain, or you can't move, you need easy access. You're young, you're fit, Don't do it again. Think of others. This could easily be you one day.
I couldn't agree more. Hopefully those boys will think twice next time.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
But it's not long before Cam spots another chancer.
This is a loading area, but we don't see any loading going on. No one in there. Are you loading? You went to the bank. All right, so you can't use this bay for going to the bank in future. It is a loading bay. Unless you're loading, don't use this bay.
I've done so, and then after I decided to go to the bank.
Right, so you are meant to just load, offload and go.
Oh dear. This chap thought that he could use a commercial loading bay when he popped to the bank. Is Cam about to give him an on-the-spot fine?
Right, you don't go to the bank in this bay. Yeah, thank you.
It seems Cam's mood is as sunny as the weather. She's let the driver off.
That warden there, and she just had a little bit of a go at you.
Yeah.
How do you feel about wardens?
I don't like them. Especially that one, I know this one because I parked up at my son's school one time and she gave me a nice ticket for just turning the car around, and because my son opened the door to get out, you know, meant to stop, she gave me a ticket. So I had to go and I cussed her off. So the person doesn't actually remember me.
She gave her a hard time last time?
I did, I'm gonna lie.
Okay. And this time?
This time I gave her a blight actually, because obviously I'm slightly in the wrong in it, so I'm not gonna challenge her, but that time I wasn't really...
Did you pay it?
I didn't. For something that I just think it's a bit stupid just to ticket me for that little moment, then I'm not paying it.
Yeah.
So that's all it is.
Good luck with that one, because they can get expensive if you start
losing.
losing.
Yeah, they go up, they keep going to like £400 or £500, they send a lot of bailiffs around, I don't just ignore them. Don't let them in, how they're going to get in, they can ring the doorbell they want.
Well, that's one way to avoid a fine, but not one that I would recommend.
So why didn't he get a ticket?
He came back and, other than trying to be a bit cheeky, he weren't actually rude or abusive or anything. Realistically, he knew he weren't supposed to be here, and he wasn't loading. He didn't have a delivery note in his hand, and this is a loading bay. It's not a banking bay.
It's a reminder to always read the signs, or Cam's coming for you. In a council car park, Cam spotted a parking ticket that's expired.
This one's already 20 minutes out. So passed it, logged it, and then started from that end. So this one's already had way over its 10 minutes grace.
This car's ticket has already run out. If the owner doesn't return soon, I think I know what's going to happen. And here she comes.
Sorry? Is this your vehicle? I've just started a ticket for it, ma'am.
1026?
Yeah, it's... Yep.
It's not this lady's lucky day. That's £130 fine. But hang on a minute, she's back and she's had an idea.
Right, what have you suddenly noticed?
When I looked on the car earlier and you put the ticket on, or the traffic woman put the ticket on, it was 10:26, and I looked. In my mind I was thinking I had till 11:30, but obviously forgot about that. Just realised that the £1.20 that I put in the machine didn't register the £1.20, it only registered £1. And so it's only given me an hour's parking and not the 2 hours I thought I had.
So the 20p's obviously fallen out the bottom. You didn't realise?
The 20p had come out a couple of times, but the last time I put it in, it stayed in. Obviously, if it would have fell out again, I would have known.
So you've got a very, very good reason now to appeal that, and hopefully find the adjudicator will believe you.
If you think you've been given a ticket unfairly, all is not lost.
If you are planning to appeal a ticket, what you need to do is get as much evidence as you can as to the reason why you think it's unfair. In this case, Tara here is now video filming the slot where she said 20p wasn't accepted and therefore her ticket was shorter than she thought it was. Take photographs of any road signs, any lines, anything you think might help in your case, because all that is crucial to try and get the appeal turned in your favour.
Oh.
This might be the evidence that this lady needs to help overturn her fine.
OK, well, a couple of times it's rejected it, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So, it's up to you, but send that little video clip in. Yeah. It might help.
Yeah.
It's always worth a go, isn't it?
Yeah, sure.
Let's keep our fingers crossed for her.
Here in London, you can appeal a fine by writing to the council and attending a tribunal. Nearly 5 million penalty charge notices are issued in London every year. Up to 50,000 of those fined are prepared to argue their case.
I received a penalty fine outside my home.
If you want to fight your corner, then you'll need to come here to the Chancery Exchange in central London. Sergio Pizarro was caught on camera parking in a loading bay and has been landed with a £130 fine. But he's here to argue that he doesn't deserve the ticket.
They told me this is only purely for a commercial purpose, which is not, because there is no sign whatsoever.
His fate is in the hands of an independent adjudicator.
Hello, Mr. Pizarro. Come and take a seat, please.
Almost half of all appeals are successful, but will Sergio manage to get his £130 fine overturned?
Shall we just take the evidence stage by stage? Together we can look at that moving footage.
We're not allowed to show the CCTV footage, but it looks like Belinda's all over it.
I've pulled it forward to when your vehicle arrived, and you leave the vehicle, and then we see that it remains in situ for only a few minutes.
3 minutes, something like that.
Just a few minutes, and then this point where you've parked, there's no stopping at any time, except for loading, and then there's a maximum of 20 minutes.
Looks like an open and shut case to me. So, what's Sergio's excuse?
So that brings me now to your side of the story, and I'd like to hear what you want to tell me about it to see whether it makes out a reason for stopping.
Because I got quotation from this shop of a sofa. I came over there and the sofa wasn't ready.
Did you park
Yes.
with the purpose of loading?
Exactly. That's why I have this evidence.
Loading and unloading is usually of pre-ordered goods. It doesn't equate with shopping. You can't go and buy something and then put it in your vehicle, because that really is taking it a bit far.
I've got a feeling he'll be stuck with that £130 fine after all.
I just need to explore a little bit more. When you say that you hadn't paid, you were waiting, were you, until these changes were done to the item?
Yeah, they told me they would be ready. There was four. I parked there because I was convinced I was to unload the sofa.
Yes.
But the sofa wasn't ready.
So, Sergio pulled into a loading bay for 3 minutes. He says that he was intending to pick up a sofa from a shop, but the sofa wasn't ready, so he left empty-handed. Does that warrant a £130 fine, or is Belinda going to let him off?
I have no reason to doubt that you would come here and say anything that was untrue. If you were found to have said anything that was untrue, that would be a serious matter. But I've accepted your evidence.
Yes.
I hear what you say. I do find that this comes within the exception of loading. I am going to allow your appeal in this case, which means today is the finality. That's the end of the matter. There is no penalty to pay, and that's the end of the hearing. You may go now. Thank you. All the best to you. Goodbye.
I'm pleased now. Everything is fine, but it wasn't that easy as it sounds.
Just goes to show, if you think you've been dealt an unfair hand, it might just be worth arguing your case. In Cardiff, little outs better beware. The Cagney and Lacey of the garbage world are on a stakeout.
We just parked up here. We've got Burger King. It's just around the corner here, and a lot of people drive out from the drive-through and they stop at the lights, and then as they're eating it, they throw it out the window while they're waiting. So what we do is, if we see them littering from a vehicle, we take the registration number and all the details of the vehicle, and then when we get back to the office, then we put that through to the DVLA, and they give us the owner's details, and then we write to the owner then to ask who was driving that day. So it's an £80 fixed penalty, the same as littering as well. And I really, really hate it when you see people throw in McDonald's, Burger King. It's just disgusting, really, isn't it? It's horrible. And most people got kids in the back of the car, so they're teaching them the wrong thing as well, aren't they? It's disgusting. So whether you're littering from a vehicle or you stood there throwing stuff on the floor, it's exactly the same. There's no difference in it at all.
Waste enforcement officers Steph Marnell-Jones and Lauren Main Robson are keeping a close eye on a local drive-through, and it doesn't take them long to spot their first offender.
So they give that guy a fixed penalty. Hiya, you doing all right? My name's Stephanie, I'm a waste officer for Cardiff Council. The reason why I've come over is just so you littering, throw the lid to your sauce, all right?
Even though the guy picks up the lid, it's not enough to satisfy Steph. This fast food junkie reckons as he's picked up the lid, he shouldn't be punished.
You wouldn't have though if I didn't come over. And the bin's just for there. I mean, you're also throwing food as well.
It seems pretty clear cut. The man threw his ketchup lid onto the floor. So, what's it going to be, Steph?
It's an £80 fixed penalty.
So whilst the man finishes his lunch, Steph serves him up a less than tasty £80 on the spot fine.
There you go. Thanks for your cooperation. Just use the bins, all right? Thank you. He peeled the lid off the sauce and just chucked it. Then he threw a chip on the floor. And I just thought, I'm just not having that. So he gave me his details anyway. He said he didn't know. He said it was ridiculous. It's stupid. So I said, well, I thought it was ridiculous and stupid that, you know, he was throwing litter on the floor. So, but we took the registration number. He didn't have any ID on him. So if he has given me any false information, hopefully the car will bring something back if we need to go down that route. I hope he'll think about it next time he goes to throw something out the window, whether or not it'll change his behaviour. He didn't really seem that bothered by it. He just thought I was, you know, wasting his time, but you never know, hopefully.
Uh-oh, hold on. Lauren's seen a litterer too. Isn't that the same place as the last guy?
There's a bin there. There's a bin there. Why didn't you chuck it in the bin?
Oh, those bins. You can't really miss them, can you?
As we were sat in the vehicle, she witnessed him. I think it was a salt packet. First of all, it's quite small, and then he threw another piece of litter out from his food packaging.
I'm going to have to just report you for the offence of littering, OK? All right.
For that assault on our streets, he faces an £80 fine.
There's a bin to the side, a bin in front, a bin behind, 2 bins the other side. There's just no excuse for that whatsoever. None at all.
All right, so next time just put it in the bin. Just save time, all right? Cheers, mate, thank you. He knew what he'd done straight away. He wasn't too apologetic about the situation, but hopefully the £80 that damages his bank account will affect him throwing in the future.
But Steph is less convinced.
I think he'll do it again. He didn't seem to care much. But we'll just give him another fixed penalty if we catch him.
And if you're not in the car park, don't think you're safe from Steph and Lauren's eagle eyes.
Straw's just gone as well. What's he wearing?
A vest top, I think. Yeah, 2 straw wrappers come out of there.
A driver on the main road has just spat a straw cover out of the window. They might be making a getaway.
Male driver, female passenger.
But they won't get away with the littering.
1 straw wrapper came out by here, and the other one came out by there. Got the registration number, and we just forward the details to the DVLA, wait for them to come back, and then issue them a fixed penalty by post.
They'll be reminded of that bit of littering in a couple of weeks' time when a hefty fine slides through their letterbox.
You'll say on this date at this time you were witness littering from your vehicle. Usually they ring up and go, I don't litter from my vehicle. And there they were blowing straws out their window. So yeah, they get the fixed penalty.
After a morning binge of fast food, you might choose to walk it off on the high street. But litterers aren't safe there either.
Guy threw a cigarette on the floor.
The litter police have caught an elderly gent red-handed.
I hate doing old people.
Excuse me, my name's Lauren, you're on behalf of Cardiff Council. No, if you go and have a look, it's outside the door. What I'm going to have to do is report you for the offence of littering, OK? Unfortunately, litter is litter, whether you're old age or not, OK?
Just for dropping that 1 cigarette butt, he could be facing an £80 fine for littering. Or they might just let him off with a warning.
It's the 19th, and it was at 11:14.
There's no leniency where litter's concerned.
We'll issue the fixed penalty. You've got 14 days to pay. If you want to appeal it, OK, don't pay it. I'd like to appeal the fixed penalty, or also don't pay, it'll go to court and then it's up to the judge to decide. We just issue the fixed penalty for what we saw.
It's an £80 on-the-spot fine.
Yeah, for littering.
So he's accepted the fine, and now he's about to get a free gift.
I'm going to give you this, actually. In there is like where you can put your fags, and in the back is for chewing gum as well, so just keep that on you, it saves you having to...
You can be reused.
All right,
thank you.
But it's not just the busy main roads where you can get caught for littering. And round the corner on a quiet residential street, Lauren has spotted another offender.
Hiya, excuse me, hiya. My name's Lauren. Cardiff Council. You dropped the bag on the floor. Your cigarette on the floor. No cigarette on the floor. Okay, I seen you drop your cigarette on the floor.
But it seems there's a language barrier. She claims that she doesn't speak English.
I think you do understand.
I wonder if she understands the phrase £80 fine for littering, because that's what could be on the cards.
If you don't cooperate, I will call the police to help me with this.
She's doing a run-up.
I'll follow you then, that's fine.
Well, it's more of a brisk walk. And now she's gone into hiding at home.
Obviously, I've seen this lady litter cigarette end onto the floor and walk away, saying she doesn't speak English. It's not true. She doesn't give her details, then I'll call the police myself, as it is an offence to withhold these details from the enforcement officer. Either way, we'll get the details, yeah, whether she likes it or not. And if she doesn't pay, then we'll send her to court.
The litterer finally comes out of hiding.
All we need from you is your details. We'll give you the fixed penalty. It's up to you whether or not you want to pay it, all right? That's all we need is your details.
Eventually, the woman relents and produces her passport for ID.
Thank you. You've got 14 days to pay. If you don't pay, it'll go to court, OK? It's up to you. That's the fixed penalty for littering. Whether it's a cigarette, piece of paper, crisp packet, can of pop, you can't throw stuff on the floor, all right? It's not allowed.
Dropping a tiny cigarette butt has ended up costing this lady a whacking £80. But the problems with this resident don't stop with littering.
Your bag should go out after 4:30 p.m, OK? I know it's collection day tomorrow, but it's after 4 o'clock, OK? It's too early, all right? Thank you. So she's not going to pay that. I'd say for every, for example, 10 fixed penalties, I'd say 2 maybe go to court.
And all for a discarded dog end. Now, some of these fines might seem a little harsh, but bear in mind, when you break the law, even if it's for something that you consider is minor, somebody out there will have had their life permanently altered because of such a minor offence. I'm in Wiltshire. Back on the beat with traffic cop Warren Knight. We've just had the call every traffic cop dreads.
What's happening, Warren? It's a road traffic collision, car v motorcycle, so I'm just going to clear this traffic.
4-6, you can back up.
A serious smash on Warren's patch is going to take priority.
Yeah, go ahead.
As we arrive at the scene, you don't need to be an experienced traffic cop to know this is serious.
Oh, it's not looking very good. There's an awful lot of mess.
2 badly damaged cars and a motorcyclist being attended to in a field. Could this be the result of speeding?
Yeah. You're right, fella, what have you done? It's serious injury, so you might not want to look. The car that the motorcyclist hit is in a bad way. The bike, well, you can just see by the state of that bike, this is obviously not going to be a very nice scene to be a witness to.
The motorcyclist looks badly injured. He's still lying in the field where he's being looked after. Warren now needs to take charge of the scene to make sure there's no further incidents and to secure any evidence.
This is my scene, so I don't want anybody in it. Yeah. Got an open lower leg fracture. So you might want to tell the ambulance that's the case. Bike's been coming down the A4361 and it's been struck by the Nissan, and then the bike's hit the VW. Receive.
Roger.
But securing the crash site is not as easy as it might seem.
What the? Sir, can you stay back from the junction, please? There's been a crash. I don't need you to go down this road. You can turn around for me, please. Just reverse into that junction for me, all right? Just keep going and reversing this. Don't cross over this bit here, okay? So keep going back.
Right.
Head in that direction. Stop! Stop! Don't go any further. Just reverse back.
I was trying to help the officers a minute ago just look for the number plates so they can identify who the motorcyclist was. His bike's there, and about 10 metres away is his boot, which sort of makes me feel a bit queasy about the whole situation.
With the Wiltshire Air Ambulance arriving to treat the injured motorcyclist, Sergeant Knight needs to gather any evidence that might point to the cause of this terrible accident.
There's a phone in her car. I think we'll have that. See if she'll allow you to have a look at the messages and see if there's a Bluetooth on it. If there's anything recent, we'll have the phone.
Okay.
But she'll have to let you unlock the phone, all right?
What's your instinct at the moment? Is speed involved?
It's hard to say. Looking at the crash site, there's no indication that the motorcyclist has braked, so there's no reaction to him. It is an open road. It's a 60 limit, so we'll never be able to determine whether speed was a factor.
I suppose there's an element now, regardless of speed at the moment, whether somebody might have been texting or talking on the phone.
That's
and being
always something that we'll look at.
Yeah.
So I'm in the process of seizing phones,
right.
Establishing timelines.
Yes.
So when the calls come in to when the accident happens, it's always going to be a slight discrepancy, but I need to rule out whether that was a distractor. It's a modern car. It may well have Bluetooth. But even with Bluetooth, if you have an incoming call with Bluetooth, it can distract you.
Yes.
Because your mind's not on it, but it will be determined to me to find out whether that's a call at the junction or whether it's a call 400 or 500 metres back.
The motorcyclist has a broken leg but is stable enough to be transferred by helicopter to hospital in Bristol. Warren doesn't know yet what caused this crash, but a sight like this brings home the importance of the work done to prevent speeding.
I've got to say, Warren, that's a bit traumatic for me, but for you, it's something you see on a regular basis, isn't it?
As we were discussing probably minutes before about why we're doing what we're doing, why it's important to look at the education and look at how we enforce people. Had he been coming past me in the unmarked car, not know it's been speeding, it's an opportunity for me to stop him, either deal with him for a fixed penalty notice, slow him down, and just discuss the dangers of being a motorcyclist. And it may be that if that happened, 300 yards, 400 yards up the road, he'd have come down this junction, seen the junction and thought, do you know what, if I'm going too fast, I need to ease off and probably make myself a bit more visible, and probably would have avoided collision, and he probably would have been on his own now, with his family, eating his tea, probably. As it is, he's in a serious condition on his way to hospital.
Of course, we don't know if anyone involved in this terrible accident was speeding.
Some of these on-the-spot penalties can actually be lifesavers.
Yeah, they can. It's about getting the message across to people that if you drive responsibly and carefully and make good decisions, you will avoid collisions. Sometimes there is just bad luck. You can't get away with that. But sometimes poor decision-making, coupled with speed or whatever, distraction, drink or alcohol or drugs, those things will impact how we drive. And it's important people get that message.
Yeah, definitely.
That's all for today. Join me next time and I'll be out with the men and women who issue Britain's on-the-spot fines.